Americans are making hard choices in their budgets, and we've got to tighten our belts in Washington as well.
I'll let the organizers of whatever these are speak to their motivations.
We're not happy with the stimulus. We're not happy with earmarks. We're not happy with this runaway spending.
The message is stop spending and don't bankrupt the country.
I think any president of the United States, first prerequisite should be a business owner. If he doesn't know how to run a business, how can he run our country?
A little flavor of the day as all of these tea parties, hundreds of them around the country, kick off, and the president talks about his tax policy today. What about all of this? Let's bring in our panel tonight. Jeff Birnbaum, managing editor digital of The Washington Times. Mara Liasson, national political correspondent of National Public Radio, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Jeff, let's start with you about these tea parties. Some were better attended than others, but clearly it did make a statement that they were all, and there could be 750 of them when we add them up as we look at pictures from around the country of all the people that came out today. What about these tea parties and the message they sent?
Well, I think it's very clear that the conservative movement is alive and well. And in every part of the country, as you say, thousands of Americans participating in hundreds of these tea parties. In addition, the political right seems as adept, if not more adept, at using social networking, the internet, Twitter, Facebook, to use the internet to have these net roots sort of organizations. These people turned out because of organizations that were applied online. The question, I think, is will this be turned from a group of angry people about the size of government and taxation into an electoral movement? Is this the beginning, the sprouting of a rejuvenation of the Republican Party, which has really been battered about the face and arms for the last 2 election cycles? Or is this a movement that is outside of normal politics? Might this be the start of a third party movement, or is it something that is just enough to release anger on tax day? And that question has not been answered.
I mean, to hear people talk out at these different spots, they were insisting that it wasn't about Republican and Democrat, and it was about the issue of less taxes and less spending. Mara.
Yeah, well, you know, I think if the Republican Party is smart and skillful, it'll try to co-opt some of this energy. All of these tools, which the Obama campaign used to very great effect, the social networking tools and kind of creating what seemed like a movement, but now is right under the umbrella of the Democratic National Committee, you know, the Republicans would be lucky if they could channel some of this energy, which is not just an anti-tax energy, because at the White House today President Obama had an event, and there was a lot of effort made to get out the message that President Obama hasn't raised taxes on most of the people who are outside if they're earning less than $250,000 a year. Instead, he's actually cut their taxes. But I think what a lot of those people at that tea parties were talking about wasn't just taxes. It was about spending. It was about earmarks. It was about all the things that Republicans don't like about the Obama agenda.
I don't think it's a movement. It's a protest, and it's a reaction to the fairly radical social agenda that Obama has unveiled ever since his inauguration. But I would remind the people at the parties that unlike the original Tea Party, this one is taxation with representation. Obama was elected by the American people against my sage advice, I would add, but no one listens to me, and his program was pretty open. It was not hidden. They elected a Democratic majority, large Democratic majorities in the House and the Senate, and what they have as a result is a government that is ready to use the tax code to confiscate as much of your earnings as it can. Now, the process is legitimate. I think in terms of the substance, I agree with the protest against the stimulus and the pork, but I disagree on the bailouts. Paulson and Bernanke are not socialists, and they're the ones who invented the TARP. And Summers and the Secretary of the Treasury, Tim Geithner, are not socialist either. That's required to keep the economy working, and I think it's had some success. But I think what they are anticipating is an explosion of spending, which is coming, as announced by the programs that Obama has spelled out. And it's good that the elites know that there is a constituency strong and energetic, ready to oppose it, if not Republican, conservative at least.
So does this send the message, Jeff, that it's going to be pretty tough to get any more bailout money from Congress in this environment.
I think there was no question about that beforehand. But yes, it's quite clear there's going to be no more bailout money for banks, and there's going to be no tax increases. I think President Obama had agreed to that already. But this kind of pressure, especially my guess is mostly on Republican members of Congress, indicates there are going to be no votes for raising taxes until the economy begins to turn upward again. And then it may have to come in a flood because there's such a huge need for more revenue given the size of the spending so far.
And that's going to make it much harder for him to find money to pay for health care and other big things that he wants to do.
There appears to be movement